Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time you're listening to this. Welcome to Humble Beginnings, the Undrafted Podcast. I'm your host, Roushell Hamilton Jr. And before I get started, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me this amazing opportunity to glorify Him and connect with you. I'm having so much fun with this podcast that I have Him to thank for it. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to tune in with me. I am greatly humbled and I appreciate you. On today's episode 4, we're at the 4-week mark already. Wow, 4 weeks of the Undrafted Podcast. Wow, God is good. We're talking baseball today. The Rangers season kicks off this Thursday night, March 29th, against the World Series champs, the Houston Astros. We got another new segment coming to the podcast called Tabletop Chronicles with Chef Rodaddy. Whew! I love that name. I absolutely love that name. And in the Ballin' on a Budget segment, I caught up with one half of the Frisco RoughRiders broadcast team, Mr. Ryan Rouillard, who was gracious enough to take time out of his day to talk to me about the upcoming RoughRiders season. My very first interview on the Undrafted Podcast, so I am extremely excited about this one. Let's get it! Getting right to it, we'll start with the World Series champion Houston Astros. Jose Altuve finalized the 7-year, $163.5 million contract with the Astros back on the 19th, which is the longest in team history. Altuve was the American League MVP, of course, in 2017, and this contract gives him an additional $151 million over the next 5 seasons. Now, Altuve is the kind of guy that you want in your locker room. He's a leader. He steps up in times when big plays need to be made. You can always count on him to come through more often than not. The dude is clutch. He's accountable. He's great with fans. You've seen the video clips of him signing autographs for kids, and I think he signed one over in Disney World shortly after Houston won the World Series championship, and the little boy was brought to tears. These are the kinds of impacts that, men like Jose Altuve has on the fans. Now, Altuve is only 5'6", but he's a big-time hitter. He hit .346 last season. He won his second straight American League batting title and his third in 4 seasons. Now, he had 24 home runs, 82 ribbies, and 32 stolen bases in 2017. So that gives you an idea of the kind of production that Jose Altuve brings to this Astros team. Now, get this. He's only 27 years old. So this man has a lot of talent and a lot of production left in his gas tank. I mean, he's just getting started. His previous contract with the Astros that he signed back in 2013 paid him $12.5 million from 2014 to 2017. He keeps those same salaries and adds a $21 million signing bonus. His annual salary, now get this, his annual salary from 2020 to 2024 will be $26 million a year. Lord Jesus, it must be nice. Whew. Now, I love football. I love football. I love the NFL. I love the product that the NFL puts on the field. But let me make this clear. When I have kids, I'm going to try my best to steer my kids into playing baseball and basketball. Now, look, I completely understand. The chances of my kids or anyone's kids making it to be a professional baseball or professional basketball or a professional athlete, period, are extremely slim. But slim is better than none. And the reason why I say this, baseball players and basketball players in the professional leagues are paid considerably more than NFL players. In all actuality, when you compare the 3 big professional sports, baseball, basketball, and football, NFL players are actually the lowest paid out of all 3. And if you consider hockey, I don't know a whole lot about hockey, but if you even Google the facts about hockey, NFL players are paid lower than NHL players, even though the NFL is the most popular professional sport in America right now. Baseball players and basketball players, these dudes get bags. I mean, these cats get bags, bruh. Let me just run a few figures by you right quick and just give you a comparison to the amount of money that NBA players and Major League Baseball players make in contrast to NFL players. According to Forbes.com, the average salary for an NBA player is $6.2 million as of the 2017 season. Now, the highest paid player in the NBA, of course, is the all-time great LeBron James, who rakes in $31 million a year. Take it to Major League Baseball. The average salary for a Major League Baseball player is $4.4 million as of 2017. The highest paid player is Clayton Kershaw out in Los Angeles with the Dodgers. He pulls in $32 million a year. You take it to the National Hockey League. The average hockey player makes $2.9 million a year as of 2017. The highest paid player is Ans Kopitar at $14 million a year. And we get to the average salary of an NFL player at $2.1 million a year, with the highest paid player being Drew Brees as of last year, who made $31.25 million. And, of course, he just re-signed a new contract with New Orleans. But that's irrelevant to this conversation. Now, you think about that. The average salary for an NFL player is $2.1 million. The average salary for a Major League Baseball player is $4.4 million. So that's more than twice what an NFL player makes off top. Then you go to the NBA, and the average NBA player makes $6.6 million. So over 3 times what an NFL player makes, despite the fact that the NFL is the most popular sport in America right now. Now, when you think about that and you think about the physical toll that NFL players put on their bodies, the hits after hit after hit after hit, and you see all the reports coming out about CTE and the brain damage that is done to these athletes over time from all this hitting and the force of the impact, you can see why a lot of people would want to steer their kids to baseball and basketball. It's a lot less taxing on the body and the brain. Well, anyway, back to what I was saying about Jose Altuve. Sorry, I got a little off track there. My mind tends to wander sometimes like that. Of course, the Stros just won their first World Series, and they still have pitcher Dallas Keuchel and designated hitter Evan Gattis up for free agency after the 2018 season. So the Astros have a few important decisions coming up after the season is over. Now, if you remember, H-Town added Justin Verlander in a trade back on August 31st from the Detroit Tigers, and Verlander was an absolute beast in Detroit. So I completely understand why Houston got him. And I'm not like a hardcore Astros fan. I mean, I follow them because they're a Texas team, but I was excited for them when they got Justin Verlander because the dude brought major production to the Astros pitching rotation. Now, Justin Verlander was not just a late-season rental. Verlander's under contract for 2 more years. He went 5-0 with the 1.06 ERA and 43 strikeouts in 5 regular season starts. He went 4-1 with a 2.20 ERA in his first reliever appearance in the postseason. Now, if you remember back in 2011, Verlander won the Cy Young Award, and the Astros still have the 2015 Cy Young Award winner on the roster in Dallas Keuchel. They still have Lance McCullers as well, who was a solid, effective pitcher in the regular season and in the postseason. And if you follow Lance McCullers on Twitter, you'll enjoy his Twitter feed because Lance McCullers is a straight shooter on Twitter. He just tells it like it is. I love it. A lot of people in the major leagues believe that Houston still has the best pitching rotation in Major League Baseball. And if this pitching rotation holds up and their hitters led by Altuve, Carlos Correa, and George Springer, if these hitters stay hot, there's no reason to think they can't make another deep playoff run or even repeat as the champs. So the Stros, they secured a big piece of their puzzle with Altuve's contract, but again, they've still got some big decisions to make going forward. And since I'm talking about the Astros, and since they play the Texas Rangers on Thursday, the 29th, for opening night, let's take a look at the Rangers and see what's going on over here in Arlington. The Rangers, they optioned prospect Willie Calhoun to the minors on last week. Calhoun was a second baseman before he was traded to the Rangers in a deal that sent Yu Darvish out to L.A. with the Dodgers. According to Jeff Bannister, the manager for the Rangers need Calhoun to sharpen his outfield skills in the minors, specifically his defensive skills. Calhoun is an effective hitter. The Rangers know what they have when it comes to him in the batting rotation. He batted .243 with 1 homer and 5 RBIs in spring training, so his hitting's not the reason he's being sent to the minors. He was optioned to the AAA Round Rock Express to work on his defense. Some other goings on with the Rangers. They acquired right-hander Tim Lincecum earlier in March. He signed a 1-year deal. Originally, they were hoping that Lincecum might be ready to go by this Thursday on the 29th for opening day, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like Tim Lincecum is going to wind up on the 10-day disabled list. It looks like John Daniels is going to backdate it 3 days, which is the latest that you can backdate a player that you've put on the DL. So with all of that, it looks like he might miss into the first 7 days of the season. Tim Lincecum is 33 years old, and he won the Cy Young Award twice in 2008 and 2009 when Tim Lincecum was absolutely terrorizing batting rotations across Major League Baseball. Tim Lincecum was on his way to a surefire Hall of Fame career before his hips started giving him problems. And when his hips started giving him problems, it derailed his career. And I'm not sure we've ever seen, how do I say it? I mean, I'm not sure we've ever seen a superstar fall from grace and fall from such a high point as fast and as hard as Tim Lincecum has fallen. I mean, it's amazing, not in a good way. It's amazing, and it's quite sad to see what's happened to him. And I'm not saying, I don't want to sound like I have a violin for him or anything like that. He's a grown man. Of course, he knows how to handle adversity. And I'm not even the biggest baseball fan, but if you're a guy like me who just enjoys the sport and you just enjoy watching the strategy of the sport and the cat and mouse type of strategy that goes into baseball, you tend to appreciate the guys that tend to make the game great. And Tim Lincecum was one of those guys. According to the Rangers, they brought Lincecum on to be a reliever. The team says he looks fresh. The team hasn't ruled out starting Lincecum, but to be honest with you, that's not very likely. Lincecum only had 9 starts to his name in 2016, and he didn't play at all in 2017. And by his own admission, he felt a big void in his life last year by not being able to play baseball. Just to give you an idea of the kind of production that Tim Lincecum was putting out before he got injured, before his career got derailed by his hip, he helped his old squad, the San Francisco Giants, win 3 World Series in 5 years back in 2010, 2012, and 2014. And ironically, he pitched the Game 5 World Series clincher in 2010 right over here in Arlington in Globe Life Park against the Texas Rangers. So with everything going on with Tim Lincecum and, trying to bring him along and seeing how his health goes, bringing him along slowly but surely seems like it would be the best route for the Rangers to go with him in 2018. Now, if the Rangers can even get a fraction of the kind of production that Tim Lincecum has the potential to put out, that will be a worthwhile investment. I don't think it'll be enough to get them, on Houston's level as far as being able to compete for a deep run at a championship, but it will definitely be an upgrade over what Texas has had in their pitching rotation over the last few years. Moving on to our next segment, this is Tabletop Chronicles with Chef Roudaddy. Man, I love that name. Don't ask me where I got that name. Well, actually, you can't ask me. Well, you don't have to ask me. I'm just going to tell you. Chef Roudaddy came because people started calling me Roudaddy kind of like as a joke back in the day, and it's kind of just something that I ran with. And the chef part came because I just love to cook. But anyway, this is Tabletop Chronicles with Chef Roudaddy. Now, last week I told y'all about Cheat Meal Chronicles, and Cheat Meal Chronicles is something that I do every other week when I cheat on my eating habits, when I just eat what I want to eat for one meal every other week. Tabletop Chronicles is what I eat on a day-to-day basis since I've made my lifestyle change. So this is just a small sample of how I eat on a day-to-day basis. And since we're talking about baseball today, when you think of baseball, you think of peanuts, hot dogs, hamburgers. I don't really eat hot dogs. I love hamburgers, but we're not going to talk about either one today. We're going to talk about a food that you can eat basically at any setting and you can't go wrong. Chicken wings. You cannot go wrong with chicken wings. You can eat chicken wings at a baseball game, at a football game, at a symphony concert or orchestra. You can eat chicken wings, right after you come out of church. You can eat chicken wings while you're playing checkers, playing poker. Just make sure you have plenty of napkins around. You can eat chicken wings basically in any setting and, not feel out of place. At least for me, I wouldn't feel out of place eating chicken wings wherever. Now, I don't eat a lot of chicken wings, but since we're talking about baseball, you can be a little more liberal with your lifestyle change. Even if you're trying to get a lot of protein and cut out the carbs, chicken wings have a lot of protein in them. Chicken wings have a lot of fat in them, so you don't want to eat too much of them if you're watching what you eat, if you're making a lifestyle change. But they are a nice switch up if you eat a lot of lean protein like chicken breast and steak and turkey and fish. They are a nice little curveball to that lifestyle change if you're doing like me. So I'm just going to share with you one chicken wing recipe that I thoroughly enjoy, and it's something that I kind of just threw together. There's no rhyme, reason, or measurements behind this recipe, but I'm telling you, this is delicious. So what I like to do, you can get a bag of frozen chicken wings or refrigerated chicken wings. It doesn't really matter. Get a bag of chicken wings. And what you'll do, if you do like me and you rinse off your meat, I like to let my chicken sit in warm water with baking soda in them for about 5 or 10 minutes, just to get all the slime and the gunk and everything else that sometimes comes on prepackaged meat, especially chicken. So that's what I like to do. Then I like to rinse them. Then, of course, I rinse them off with just some cool water. And then I put them in a bowl, and you get some Worcestershire sauce. Like, that is one of the funniest names for sauce or for any kind of condiment is Worcestershire. You get some Worcestershire sauce. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, so don't make fun of me. You get Worcestershire sauce. You get some black pepper, onion powder, garlic habanero seasoning from Weber's, cinnamon. And I know cinnamon sounds funny. I know that doesn't really sound like a food you would generally throw on chicken wings. You don't want to throw a lot of it because cinnamon has the tendency to be very overpowering, kind of like oregano. So just get a little bit of cinnamon and mix it in. And the reason why I put cinnamon in there, it gives it a nice little bit of a sweet kick in addition to all the smoky spices and everything else that's in the garlic habanero seasoning and the black pepper and the onion powder. It gives it a nice little sweet contrast to that. And not only that, cinnamon has been proven to improve your metabolism and help your body burn fat. And if you don't believe me, Google it. Because when I first heard it, I did not believe it. And when I Googled it and I researched the science behind it, it is absolutely true. So anytime you can, sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon in your diet. It helps immensely. And the last thing that I put in there is kicking chicken seasoning from Weber's. This is something that I randomly threw together during football season sometimes. And I'm telling you, all of this stuff combined is delicious. You get all of those ingredients, you put them in a bowl, sprinkle it all over the chicken, mix it around in the bowl. You mix it around in the bowl, you stir it around, whatever you want to call it. Put the chicken on a rack. And you can get like a rack cookie sheet combo from somewhere like Walmart or H-E-B. Speaking of H-E-B, I love and miss H-E-B. When I lived in Midland and in Houston, H-E-B was my spot. Anyway, you can get a rack and a cookie sheet combo from somewhere like that because you want the rack. You put the chicken on the rack and you have the cookie sheet at the bottom to catch the fat and the juice and everything else that drips off of them. Because I don't have a grill, so I put my chicken wings in the oven. And you put them in the oven and let them get nice and crispy. Now, depending on how your oven is made and the wattage behind it and everything else, the cooking times may vary. For me, I put my chicken wings in the oven for 350 degrees for 30 minutes, flip them, and then cook them another 30 minutes, and that gets them nice and crispy. Now, if you don't like yours as crispy, then of course you adjust the cooking time accordingly. And if you like them even more crispy, then of course leave them in there a little bit longer. But all of these flavors with the garlic habanero, the kicking chicken, the seasoning, the cinnamon, the onion powder, the black pepper, and the Worcestershire sauce, when I tell you that it is a great combination, it's delectable, it's delicious, it's delightful. Whatever word that goes along with good and delicious and the opposite of bad and terrible, you can use that to describe these chicken wings. Now me, since I made drastic changes to the way I eat and I changed up my diet, before I made this change, if I ate something like chicken wings, I would like to eat them with, fries or tater tots or chili cheese fries, something like that, and then wash it all down with the soda. I don't do that anymore. Since I don't eat like that on a regular basis anymore, if I want something like chicken wings on a day when I'm quote unquote going against the grain of what I generally eat, I'll eat something like spinach, greens, broccoli, cauliflower, squash, zucchini. You can eat something like that, anything like that, along with the chicken wings, and you still have basically a great meal, and you haven't wrecked your body and your metabolism with all of the carbohydrates and the starches from the fries and the tater tots and things like that. So there's little tweaks and things that you can make, and you can still have fun even if you're trying to watch what you eat. Again, I said last week, people tend to think that when they go on a quote-unquote diet, they have to restrict themselves. They have to go on this extremely restrictive way of eating, and you don't have to do that. Just make tweaks and changes to the way you eat and cut down on some of the things that you eat and the frequency in which you eat them, and you will see major changes in the way you look and in the way you feel. Try this recipe out, and trust me when I tell you, you will love it. And if you don't love it, don't put that on my Facebook page or my Instagram. Don't embarrass me in public like my mom used to say. But trust me, you'll love it. Moving on to the Ballin' on a Budget segment, we're going to do Ballin' on a Budget a little bit different today. Generally, we kind of give you a few options of things that you can do around the DFW Metroplex that are affordable and enjoyable. But today we're going to focus on the Frisco RoughRiders. And I was able to catch up with one half of the Frisco RoughRiders broadcast team, Ryan Rouillard, and he was generous enough to take some time out of his day to speak with me about the RoughRiders, things that they have coming up in the 2018 season, and their new TV show, Riders Insider, which airs on Fox Sports Southwest and gives fans an inside look at the Frisco RoughRiders organization. First off, I wanted to tell you, I really appreciate you taking time out to speak with me on the podcast.
Sure.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So this is my third year with the RoughRiders as the radio broadcaster here with the baseball club. I grew up in the Seattle, Washington area, went to school in Oregon, and right out of school I came out here to Frisco. So it's been a great organization, a great opportunity, and I'm certainly happy to be part of the RoughRiders family out here and hope to be for a long time into the future.
Okay. Now, as far as the RoughRiders go, they've been in existence since 2003. They've led in attendance among AA teams since 2005. What is it, in your opinion, what is it about the team that keeps fans coming in droves?
Sure. Well, I think part of it is the ballpark. You just can't beat this place. I mean, we're talking about one of the most unique ballparks design-wise, first of all, with just the open-air atmosphere, and you have bullpens in the seats and very intimate setting, and then you add in all the amazing ballpark improvements that have come here the last couple of years, like the Choctaw Lazy River, like the giant new Rider Vision scoreboard that's been out there for the last couple of years. That's been part of it, I think, is that the ownership group here has made it a point that they want to make this an experience that everyone can enjoy, and I think fans have really gravitated to that. So when you look at all the different options for entertainment in this market, there are certainly plenty, but I think a lot of folks, especially up here in the northern part of the Metroplex, are realizing this is a great way to spend a summer night with the family or friends or whatever it may be, and just take in some baseball under the lights of Dr. Pepper Ballpark.
Okay, 15 years in existence, the RoughRiders, they've been, and they're celebrating all season long. What are some of the things promotion-wise that fans can look forward to when they come out to the ballpark this year?
Yeah, we're really excited about our 15th anniversary season. We're coming right up on the 15th anniversary itself. First game was April the 3rd, 2003, so that's right around the corner. And then it's a season-long celebration, like you said. So all year long, we'll be doing different video series. We have what we're calling a 15 for 15 that'll look at a bunch of different storylines that have made the RoughRiders who they are through these first 15 seasons. We have a lot of other video tributes planned to different players and moments, experiences that have made Frisco RoughRiders baseball what it is up to this point. And then to really cap everything off, we have our 15th anniversary celebration weekend, which is August 3rd through the 5th right here in Frisco, and we're inviting all kinds of former RoughRiders back to town, those that are retired that may want to come back and reminisce on where they came up as part of their rise to the big leagues or just their rise through their career. And then also that weekend, all kinds of fun giveaways. I think the one that we're all most excited about is the Mount Slugmore bobblehead that's going to be given away that weekend. So
okay.
That's on Saturday, August 4th. And you're looking at four of the best hitters in RoughRiders history there, with Joey Gallo, who Rangers fans obviously know, and then Ian Kinsler and Adrian Gonzalez and Chris Davis, who also came through Frisco as part of their rise to big league stardom.
Okay, yeah, it's funny that you mentioned some of those names. I was just about to ask you, who are some of the guys currently that really kind of stick out to you on the rosters that may have a great chance at reaching the majors?
Sure. Well, we're still waiting on our official roster here for 2018, but Jose Trevino, kind of seen as one of the catchers to keep your eye on. He had a great season, especially defensively last year. He's a guy that has won back-to-back Gold Gloves, which is, for all of minor league baseball, not just the Texas League. So we know he can defend really well. He's one of the Rangers' top 20 prospects. You're looking at other guys that are coming back, someone like Michael De Leon, for example, who will be more experienced his second year on the infield side of things. You could see a guy like Scott Heineman maybe back, or a Jose Cardona in the outfield. Some of those guys, if they don't go up to Round Rock, they could certainly be here as well. And then pitching-wise, there are all kinds of exciting arms. And again, we don't know who comes and who goes, but maybe someone like an Ariel Jurado comes back, or you look at some of the guys that were at the lower level last year down east, the high A team. Maybe someone like Brett Martin, who's on the 40-man roster, could be coming. So that's one of the exciting things about the Rangers organization, is that we saw a glimpse of some of these guys last year that were the next wave of Rangers. But as you look further down the level, so to say, that's where it's really starting to come together. And over the next couple of years, I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot of guys that will don a Riders uniform that hopefully can also contribute to the Rangers not too far down the road.
Okay, yeah, some exciting times going over exciting things going on over in Frisco. One of my last questions for you, Riders Insider, the TV show debuts tonight on Fox Sports Southwest. We know fans love these insider type of shows at their favorite squads. What can you tell us a little bit about Riders Insider?
Sure. Well, we're super excited about it. Like you said, debuts tonight, and we're really happy that all the hard work that our staff has put in to make this show possible can be seen across the region, not just in Texas, of course, but all over Fox Sports Southwest viewing range. The idea behind the show is obviously to give you some behind the scenes of what happens on the field, meeting some of the guys more in depth on a more human perspective, but also a chance to showcase everything else that happens here with the RoughRiders, because some people know, and maybe others don't quite realize, this franchise is very active in the community and doing events like that, or some of the behind the scenes of what makes the ballpark special, or new features that are coming. So we hope to kind of make it what it is. It's an all access pass to the RoughRiders. It's not just the players and the coaches, but it's the staff and the fans, and a chance for everybody to kind of come together and see what makes this engine tick, so to say. And hopefully fans will enjoy that. It's a monthly series, like you mentioned, starts tonight, and it'll air all the way through September with a different episode every month. So we're really excited about that, and hopefully just another way for our fans to connect with the RoughRiders, and we'll hope to see them out here at the ballpark for opening day on April 5th. Okay,
and then last question for you. How can listeners catch you on the RoughRiders radio broadcast?
Sure. So we are all over the place. We're online at ridersbaseball.com. We're also on the TuneIn Radio app, and if you have the Minor League Baseball First Pitch app, we're also accessible there. And then don't forget, as well as in addition to the Riders Insider show, the RoughRiders also have some games on Fox Sports Southwest this year. So lots of different ways to listen and to watch the coming wave of Rangers prospects out here, and we're certainly excited to bring everybody the action from here in Frisco.
Hey, Ryan, well, that sounds good. I won't take up too much of your time. I wanted to tell you again, thank you for taking time out to speak with us, and we look forward to catching RoughRiders games later on this year.
No problem. Opening day is April 5th. Hope to see everybody out here.
Once again, that was the radio broadcaster for the Frisco RoughRiders, Mr. Ryan Rouillard. I want to thank him again for taking time out to speak with me. Go check out the Frisco RoughRiders this baseball season. You can get tickets for as low as $9 a game. You get to watch great baseball. You get to watch future Major League prospects work their way up towards the big leagues. And again, you cannot beat the price. The Frisco RoughRiders. Go check them out. Well, that's my time for episode 4 of Humble Beginnings, the Undrafted Podcast. I'm your host, Roushell Hamilton Jr., and once again, I want to thank God for this amazing opportunity. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to my slice of the podcast universe. Tune in next week, and we'll have Cheat Meal Chronicles. We'll have more sports talk, and hopefully we'll have another interview for you in the Ballin' on a Budget segment. In the meantime, do your best and let God handle the rest. Be blessed.